So that difficult word you were looking back there, you probably couldn't pronounce, is called epiphany. Epiphany is one of the few moments in a story that change the entire story. An epiphany is when the character or the reader realizes something for the first time, and that realization pivots the story in a new direction. So let me tell you what I mean. We all have our good friend here, Rapunzel, right? And this is the moment that she has an epiphany. If you don't know the story, she was kidnapped by someone when she was a baby, and that person raised her as their child, and so she thought that that was her mother. So as the story progresses along, she realizes that she was in fact the lost princess that the whole kingdom is talking about. And this moment, this look on her face, is when she realizes that the person she called mother was in fact the villain. So it was a very, very poignant epiphany that changed the whole direction of the story, right? And then we can use Harry Potter as an example of this too, because the epiphany in Harry Potter was not from one of the characters in this case. It was the fact that the reader, the viewer, suddenly realized that Snape was a hero all along. Despite his mean facade, his evil facade, he was actually a helper, a good person, one of the heroes. And so the viewer had the epiphany. So in today's writing lesson, we're going to be talking about epiphanies. The last time you thought about your character in great detail, you imagined where they ate, what things they possessed. But today, you're going to imagine a moment in their life that changed everything. A single thought that was an epiphany and pivoted the story in a new direction. So I gave you this worksheet, and I need you to take it out. Okay, and we're going to be going box by box. So first thing, write your name on it. Right? And like every good writer, we're going to plan. So the first thing is, what is your protagonist's name? Now, advanced writers, we're talking like professional writers, they would do this for like 5 of their characters, maybe all of their characters. But right now, you're just a beginning writer, you're just getting started, so we're just going to do it on 1 character. But feel free to do it on 2 or 3, totally up to you. So first thing, write down your protagonist's name. And we're going to be writing it in this box right here on this side. Okay? And what does your protagonist want? Now, there's lots of things this person could want. Just think basically, what motivates them? What's one thing that they want? And then you're going to think, what is stopping your protagonist from getting it? Right? And there could be lots of things that stop them. Don't just list one. There could be 5 or 6 things. And now in the bottom of this box, it says, who is stopping your protagonist from getting it? The person that stops the main character from getting something is called an antagonist. Sometimes you call it the bad guy, but the academic word is antagonist. And then you want to think a little further, though. You want to think, what else is stopping your protagonist from getting it? And this is where you can say, oh, there's a storm coming. Oh, there's a train coming. Oh, his best friend also wants the thing. So just push your brain and think a little further. What else could be stopping your protagonist from getting what they want? And then we're going to look at this last box. How will your protagonist become successful? And you notice I skipped the box that says, what is the epiphany? Because you need to realize as an author, what is the end result? How do we get to the end? How will the problem be solved? How will your protagonist get what they want? Once you realize that, now you can go backwards and then give the character the epiphany. Okay, so that's going to be a later lesson. So right now, I just want you to think, how will your protagonist become successful? Okay, so I just need you to think right now. Maybe it's going to take you 5 seconds to fill out this worksheet. Maybe it's going to take you 5 days. Writing is a process. Do not rush it, right? Just fill out the chart, take a break. It depends on how your brain works, okay? But once the chart is filled out, we're going to move on. So once this is filled out, you can translate it into paragraphs. For now, I want you to pause the video and complete the worksheet in as much details as you want. Okay, now let's look at my example. So now I'm going to show you how to translate that worksheet, those notes, into paragraphs like this. But first, let me tell you mine. My protagonist's name is Nova. And Nova wants to get rid of her guilt. She doesn't want to feel guilty anymore. She's carrying this weight of something that she wants to tell, right? So your protagonist, they can want anything. They can want a trophy or a toy. They could say, I really want to build a bear. I really want a Nintendo Switch. Whatever they want. Your protagonist can want an experience. Like, I want to go to Disneyland. I want to go to Pismo Beach. I want to go to a friend's house. I want to convince my mom to let me have a sleepover. I want to be an NFL player, right? Anything that they want. Your protagonist, in my case, the protagonist could want an emotion. I want to be happy. I want to be free. I don't want to feel guilty anymore, right? And any one of those, or anything you think of, what does your protagonist want? Okay, now my protagonist, now she wants to relieve her guilt, but she can't because she thinks if she tells what she knows, other people are going to get in trouble, right? That's how she's feeling. So she's in fact stopping herself, right? Now, sometimes the character stops themselves. Other times, someone is actively trying to stop him. That person is called the antagonist. Now, my story, there's not really an antagonist. What else is stopping your protagonist from getting what she wants? Now, I made the character Nova, I made her shy, and I made her not very confident around adults. So that kind of makes it worse in telling, right? And then finally, what will your protagonist realize? What is her epiphany? Now, I'm going to tell you mine. Nova, she's going to realize that she can tell other kids, like her sister, like her friends, until she's strong enough to tell an adult. That's going to be my person's epiphany. So she's going to go through the story telling all these other different kids, or actually almost telling, and then she's finally going to tell an adult, right? And so it kind of builds the suspense, doesn't it? So here's that example. That's what I filled out, and then here's what I wrote. In fact, here's what I wrote last time. Read this silently to yourself. So now here's the part that's going to lead to the epiphany. Hey, she said to me. What? The moment the word left my lips, she lost the small courage she had in her eyes. I saw it float away from her. I didn't actually care today, though. Today my coach wouldn't let me play because I missed all the practices last week. She rubbed Sally Bear's fur. Nothing, she lied. I just remember when this bear was mine. A bit of courage floated back, waiting in the air for her to grab it. I smiled at my bear that used to be hers. Didn't you outgrow it? Give it to me because it was a baby's toy? The courage came closer to her. I feel like a baby sometimes still. You don't always get better when you get bigger, you know. I was so perplexed that my big sister felt like a baby again. She is bigger, prettier, stronger, smarter, and everything more than me. That's it. The courage came closer to her and jumped right into her eyes. She put down the bear and said, I need to tell you something. So you kind of see what I mean now? You kind of see what I mean, like how the epiphany is starting to build? So here's what you're going to do. You are going to fill out that chart and then try to turn it into 200 words. Yeah, I know that's a tall order. 200 words sounds crazy. I know. But here's some ideas for you to get going. Okay? You could write about what your character wants. That could be like 4 sentences right there. You could explain why they want it, or you can explain how they would feel once they get it. You could write a sentence about how they feel that they can't have it, or why they can't have it. You can write 2 sentences on how they plan on getting it. You can write who or what is stopping them. You can write a sentence about who or what is helping them, or who they hope would help them. You can write about time passing, like how they're bored waiting, how hard it is to wait, right? You could write another sentence about what they're thinking while they're waiting, or how they're waiting. So right there, boom, look at all those different ideas you could put. If you put one sentence for each of those, you're going to have 200 words, okay? So fill out the chart, try to get 200 words. Now, just before you get started, let me tell you, it is okay to sound horrible in the first draft. J.K. Rowling burnt her first draft after it was published so no one would know how bad she sounded the first time around. I'm not kidding. Go fact check me, right? She had it burned and completely destroyed. Just get 200 words on paper. 200 words. You don't have to be achingly proud of it. Just put 200 words down on paper about what your character wants. We're going to edit it later. Just let it flow. Fill out the chart and get 200 words. You got this. The next lesson, we're going to develop that epiphany a little further.